Right there. Here's a little supplement for us. The date for me, it's almost 9 p.m. on the 29th, Saturday night, and I oddly find myself thinking about Boris Yeltsin. If I could phone a friend, you know, he's the person I would call. He's old by now. I saw him give a testimony to the effect of Putin's constitutional amendments to extend the term limit of his office. I don't know what I thought. I didn't really think about the subject of the interview. I was just fascinated by him, the man's life. I was born in the early 80s, as you know. Um, so, the only Russian leaders I've ever known, the topic of this evening, obviously, were Gorbachev as a child, you know, Yeltsin as like an unaware adolescent, and then Mr. Putin, right? Everyone else was a story to me. Stories that would come alive as I read into history, you know, through adulthood. But I don't know. I find myself thinking of Yeltsin. I know nothing about him. There's the interview that I referenced. I can't remember a single news clipping other than he was Gorbachev's successor. I don't remember conflicts, you know. And then the one other image I have is from a film, from the opening sequence of Another Round. It was an Academy Award winner from last season, I believe, although it seems so long ago. Mads Mikkelsen. Skull. There's footage of Yeltsin, heartwarming, alongside Clinton. I have to assume it was towards the end of his term, where the man was quite obviously and like unabashedly, quite endearingly, in a formal occasion, not just formal, but an official, inebriated in an official capacity, right? Next to Bill Clinton, one of my favorite, if not my favorite. Obama gives him a tough run in my eyes. Carter was before my time. Not a lot of Democratic presidents have we had. Next to Clinton, inebriated in an official capacity, to which Clinton, like, laughed in the spirit of camaraderie, which I don't think any other leader could have done in quite the same way, you know. It was one of the most heartwarming things I'd ever seen. And it was just a very little snippet of a film that wasn't political. The film was about alcohol, right? Well, the film was about human nature. Maybe about how alcohol reveals it, but more about that there is something to be revealed, you know? The man seemed so completely like independent, removed, and yet physically there he was in the official capacity. He could be not much more a center of gravity, chuckling like a child, you know. And you weren't embarrassed for it. What would he have to say now? What was that man's vision? What did he want? was very distracted at the time of Putin's inauguration. I was honestly, I was unaware until recently that well, I read in a single source, so please correct me if it's not true, that Putin was installed, I don't mean to say prematurely, but like early. Like Yeltsin dipped out or abdicated or resigned. I don't know what the I don't know what the story was, but Putin was picked, right? And I wonder why, in a human interest sense. It's fascinating, transitions of power. I know what he went through. I remember what he went through in the public eye. I was an adult by then. Sympathy is a strange thing. It's not. I don't sympathize with Putin, but I empathize. Human beings empathize. Were he a character in a page of history in an age that I did not belong to, he wouldn't be a problem. But here we are. We have this fucking problem, right? We're approaching a tip of an iceberg that we all know is coming. And I'm here, I guess, not to talk about that specifically, but to talk about writing about it. So I'm writing an article. What do I think about this? As if it mattered. Say it does, Such an old human story. I suppose that's the significance of it for me. I would like to submit to you. Every time something like this crops up, we have the chance to set it right once and for all. To one degree or another. Which isn't to signify, to make insignificant, disignify the, it's not to say it's futile. But I just can't help but be stunned at the uniformity and the persistence of this story. One instance of it is every other instance. This will play out, however this resolves, it will play out again somewhere else. Say we win. We, or whatever. Forget we. Say I win. Hypothetically, super hypothetically. Right? Say that by some strange twist of fate, I personally and singularly come out at the very tippy top of this pile of billionaires and political figures, populations of people, ancient culture, right? Say this turned out fantastically well for me. I know, even if it did, which it won't, which I wouldn't pursue, because that's fucking insane. Anyone who would pursue that kind of outcome, this is not Game of Thrones, you know. Oh, right, the Throne of Bayonets. Did Yeltsin coin that? Or did he quote it? I always wondered that. You can make a throne of bayonets, but you can't sit on it for very long. I hope I'm not misattributing that. I remember it being Yeltsin. The problem would just crop up again, right? Even if I became the king of Eastern Europe and modern day Russia, right? I've been drinking, just relax. It's an extreme philosophical example that will elucidate a point. This play will happen again somewhere else, you know? It's like this little fire that we keep trying to put out, and ironically, like, fanning at the same time throughout generations. You know, it's we don't live long enough to like accrue the wisdom individually, just barely collectively, to solve it. So even if